Do you really know what is good for you and for your health? Do you really know what you're consuming? We're living in a world where healthy eating becomes more important, more popular. People want to nourish their body in a healthy way. A sufficient amount of nutrients, vitamins, proteins, carbs, fiber. You know this whole story, either by paying attention to your own nutrition or seeing other people who are doing it. Supermarkets, the place where you can get literally anything. Shelves piled up to the top and fridges full of food everywhere where you can see. Colorful packages with every kind of sweets, cool drinks, chips, chicken wings or whatsoever. One temptation after the other, such a huge amount of information that your brain needs to process, simply overwhelmed by the huge number of options. For sure, this processing doesn't happen in a fully conscious state of mind. You, helplessly staring at the chocolate bars, mouth-watering like Pavlov's dog. Of course, not in a laboratory, instead in an environment with so many possibilities of short-term gratification. Short-term gratifications that you need to pay a certain price for. And I'm not talking about the superficial ones, such as having a bad feeling when you gain a few pounds. You can be skinny and still eat in an unhealthy way. Just because your body doesn't store the food as fat, doesn't mean that it got rid of all the toxic things that the food actually contained. I'm talking about your health. After you've come to the conclusion that you want to change something about your current way of nutrition, one tries to remember, what did this fitness YouTuber and one of my friends actually say about food? Check the ingredients. If sugar is one of the first ingredients, you don't want to eat it, because the ingredients listed first make up the biggest part of the product. And you think, okay, good, that's easy. Now you are at the supermarket and look at the back of the product to check the list of ingredients. But then you realize the font is so small and I don't even have my glasses with me, and I definitely don't want to check every product that I want to purchase. For sure not. Okay, fuck it. Let's just not do it. Next time I will really start doing it. And you start to fall back into your old habits. Trust me, I know this feeling. Wanting something tasty, crispy or juicy, but at the same time it should be healthy. And of course without investing much effort and time to actually figure out what is healthy and what not. So why not ask Google? After searching for the best healthy diet, one gets literally bombarded with over 1 billion results. Paleo-diet, ketogenic, macrobiotic, Mediterranean, carb cycling, low fat. You wanna bulk and gain more weight? No problem, there are many diets which include more carbs. Losing weight? Low carb. You wanna go vegetarian or even vegan? No problem, we find something for you. Rather meat? Go for carnivore diet. Diets of which most of them are invented to boost other people's income and not your health. So many different types of diets, one could never try out all of them in one lifetime. And still, you have no idea what to do, invested already a certain amount of time and effort and are already tired of it. The same struggles over and over, and you see how the vicious circle starts to arise, and it will push you back into your old habit. And this is the point where you are most vulnerable to well-advertised products of fancy companies. Products which will provide you with more nutrients and other healthy things that you can lose weight and all the other things that you want to do. But instead of losing pounds, the only thing that you're going to lose is probably money. Of course, not all products are bad. There are probably also some really good ones, but you definitely need to pay a certain amount of money for them. And to be honest, most of those products only make sense to certain groups of people, such as high performance athletes. But still, you do not really know what is 100% healthy and good for you and now you're waiting here to get the ultimate answer from me. Listen, I'm not here to favor diet X over diet Y. This wouldn't make it any better. My attention is to clarify which is which and to see what is actually happening in other people's mind. The actual reason why I can do this is because I'm in a, let's say, rather lucrative position. A position which manifests itself in neutrality and impartiality. I'm not owning companies in the food sector, an unbelievable number of employees making billions, so many jobs that are all connected to this industry. I'm sure you're smart enough and have already figured out how it works. I'm just a student, an ordinary person that doesn't get anything out of it. I've got nothing to sell and nothing to offer, and this is what puts me into this less biased, or let's say more reputable position. I don't study nutritional science. I'm not able to tell you whether this specific product fits into your diet only by looking at the ingredients of the product. But what I can say is that I see a lot of confused people. Friends that are telling you, I'm eating this or that, you should try this is healthy, but cannot attend a single lecture without having 2 cups of coffee in the morning. Doctors who are trying to help other people that are suffering under their unconscious way of eating. But at the same time, I see those doctors eating junk food on a daily basis. And people from the fitness industry that tell me to consume enormous amounts of food, meat and protein powder, do everything for the sake of gaining weight. And finally, companies which overflood the market with more and more products. A common response from friends of me is, yeah, just fuck those companies, they are not doing any good. But do you know how huge this industry is and the perceived value of it? At this point, it is extremely important to differentiate between the perceived and actual value of the product. Because if you ask your friends and family if they could quit or at least reduce their amount of sugar, meat, preservatives and all those unnatural things, do you think they're going to say, hell yes? No, for sure not. They're not going to start right away and start with a completely new way of eating. I can say out of my own experience that the actual value of meat and, let's take sugar, was not that big as the actual perceived value. I slowly said goodbye to all those unhealthy things that my body had the chance to slowly adjust, because my body was simply not used to the huge amount of fresh raw veggies and sprouts. But during that process I really figured out that it's actually not that hard to quit all those things, and that I don't even miss those things. And if I really have a desire to eat something sweet, then I just go for it. As long as it's balanced, then it's okay. However, let's come back to the value of food. This is where you and others enter the game. A market can only exist if there's a demand, and this demand is reflected in the high perceived value of the product. And the product is food. I mean, everyone needs to eat. Nevertheless, it is your own choice and responsibility what you're going to eat and who you're going to support with the money. So we are actually part of the game and not only companies. They need us. It's us. We as a society. It is your decision whether you want to play fairly, whether you are just focused on winning, or whether you want to enjoy the game to the fullest. And not to forget people who have an extremely limited access to food and therewith an extremely limited choice. But this is a different topic. But if you have the choice, choose wisely. For most of you it's probably not a hunger game because your choice is not drastically limited, so please make use of it. I hope that I could inspire you to reflect more on your current situation concerning nutrition. To be honest, I cannot give you the answer for the perfect nutrition. In fact, there is no such a thing. There's only one way of eating that perfectly fits to your needs and not to everybody's needs. Therefore, I do not want to suggest any way of eating that is good for you, because you need to figure this out by yourself. But therefore, one needs to try out different things by being honest to oneself whether one's current way of eating makes you really feel good or not. Let me know down below in the comments what is your biggest pain related to dieting and nutrition. Out of my own experience, I can say that eating tons of food or tracking every single calorie won't do you any good. What it will do, it will make you less sensible, not enjoying what you actually eat and not eating what you actually enjoy. We as human beings are capable of so many things which most people probably didn't even figure out. Nature provided us with so many tools to figure out what is actually good for us, what you need and what you don't need. But when I look at others and at my past self, I need to say that we've lost that ability, not having the sense of what is good for oneself. I mean, it's actually so obvious. No one wants toxic relationships or friends, but trust me, you also don't want to nourish your body with toxic food, because there's only one body that you can get, at least in this lifetime. To sum it up, what I've learned was to simply try out different types of foods and to see what actually works best for me. But then also to drop all those ideas, images and plans and trying to simply listening to my body to figure out what is actually good for me. Because of the fact that this is not as easy as it actually sounds to figure out what is actually good for you, I will explain in the next video of the series how I actually did it and figured it out. If you are still here, I want to thank you for watching, and if you want to get in contact with me, simply write me a private message on Instagram. Otherwise, I appreciate every single like and comment, because in the beginning it's always hard to grow one's channel, and this definitely helps. This is the best way. So yeah, this also makes me happy. Apart from that, I would say, my name is Till and this is Till Talk.